Hello guys, so today we're going to talk about 3 principles of language learning that I think personally are very important if you want to be successful and be able to reach fluency in any language you're learning. So the first concept I'd like to talk about is variety. A lot of people that have tried to use Duolingo to learn a language or maybe even a textbook and have given up usually will tell you that they're not good enough at learning languages or whatever reason they come up with really. And I think the first thing they do wrong is that they don't try to vary the sources they learn their languages from. The main reason why you should try to use different materials when you learn a language is that not one material or source is perfect. So for example, on Duolingo, it's very good for like writing, translating, etc, etc. For speaking, it's quite lacking. It's a bit similar for people that try to learn a language only and solely through movies or TV shows or something like that. Because you will be able to practice listening, maybe reading if you read subtitles, but you won't be studying the grammar or maybe you won't be learning a lot of vocabulary. So this shows that whichever material you will use, it will have flaws. And I think that's why it's important to choose a variety of materials so you can kind of compensate for these flaws by using different methods. I think that's kind of why I don't trust apps or any company that says, with our method you will be able to be fluent in no time and you'll sound like a native speaker or whatever. Because truth is, not one method is perfect, as I hope I just demonstrated a few minutes ago. So that's why I don't really trust them, because they all have flaws, and I think I would be more likely to use a method if they say learn this, learn this, learn this, but you might not be able to learn this because obviously in terms of marketing it's not great, but at least they're honest and they are realistic. Another reason why variety is important is because the brain is like designed to do different things and different tasks. And because if you focus on only one task, you'll see you will get bored. Think about it. When you go to work, you might be okay the first few hours, but after a couple of hours, you'll be bored. Your brain needs to be stimulated in different ways. And it's the same thing for anything in life. Even your hobby, maybe you might love reading all the time, but after maybe 2 or 3 hours, you'll be tired and you want to do something else. Maybe you need to take a walk instead, or whatever. And it's the same thing for languages. When I'm learning Japanese, for example, I will start with doing some grammar. Then after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, when my brain is starting to switch off, then I do something else. For example, I will do some reading, I will practice writing, I will maybe listen to a video in Japanese, etc, etc. So do not forget to vary the sources you use to learn your languages. You can use books, you can watch movies or TV shows, you can find great apps, maybe games that will help you revise the vocabulary. Talk to native speakers, but do not just use one method and you should be fine. Another concept, and it's a super important one, is consistency. Consistency is so important because for me it's the key to retention and learning a language in general. Both as a language learner on the internet and as a language teacher, one of the biggest mistakes people make is that they're not consistent with their language learning. Some people, and maybe you're one of them, think that, for example, spending 1 hour on Sunday to learn your language every week is enough, but it really isn't. I mean, of course, if that's the only time you have, that's just the way it is. But if you can, what's very important with consistency is that you need to do language learning every day, or maybe at least every other day, because you will notice, if you have done that before, that after a week having done this 1 hour of study, you will see that you will have to go through a lot of it that you've done before again, and that can be quite frustrating. And the reason behind it is that the brain, after having learned something and not using it in the next few days, will kind of just assume that what you've learned was only useful for that day, and then will progressively try to forget about it, because basically the brain will not keep information that it thinks is not useful. So if you do something just for an hour on a specific day, it doesn't mean you will forget everything, but I think you will notice that you will have forgotten quite a big chunk of what you've done. My advice to you is that you should try to do some language learning or practice every day, or at least every other day. And it doesn't mean that you have to do an hour every day. That would be quite a lot, and it's not really realistic because we're all busy people, I think. But if you can, maybe do 20 minutes, half an hour. If you're a bit busy, maybe do only 5 to 10 minutes on one specific day, because it's not always easy to find half an hour every day to do that. But try to do as much as you can every day, and even if you're busy, 5 minutes will still be better than nothing. If you struggle with time or you think you don't have enough time to do it, maybe think of ways when you could practice your language while you're not doing anything. So for example, if you take the train, you could maybe read in the language, you can have some words written in your phone or tablet so you can learn them. Maybe when you're having a bath, you can watch or listen to podcasts in the language. So try to be a bit creative. So the last concept I'd like to cover in this video is something that actually came up to me kind of randomly, and it's motivation. So I was on Reddit and I was reading through the threads in the subgroup of Reddit languages, and someone was explaining that they wanted to know which next language they could learn. And the person explained that they had tried to learn French, but they gave up, they got fed up, and they wanted to learn something else. So I suggested maybe you could try to learn Japanese, and the reply was, oh no, I don't want to learn Japanese because it's a weebo thing. For those of you that don't know, a weebo is someone that is obsessed with Japanese culture, basically. And I thought this message was quite rude because I was trying to help him and he called me a weebo. And then he replied after that basically he thought it was too complicated. So this kind of interaction made me think of motivation, because I felt like his only motivations for learning a language was based on whether the language is cool or not, and whether it's easy or difficult. And between us, people that just choose a language because it's easy will usually give up, because in my opinion, no language is easy to learn, even though some languages might be easier for some people to learn. And I thought for me, these were not very good motivations to start learning a language, because learning a language is not like motivating yourself to do some groceries at the supermarket or planning for a party. No. Language learning is a proper commitment, and it's usually one that you will do for 1, 2, 3 or even more years if you want to reach proper fluency. Obviously it depends on what your goals are in the language. I know I make it sound like it's, extreme and you have to be extremely motivated, but the reason I emphasize on that is because when you learn a language, many times you'll be faced with situations when you feel like you can't do it, it's too difficult, you don't get it and stuff, but it's important to never give up and still carry on and, work hard all the time. Maybe not work hard, but, still remain and persevere. Having said that, I don't exactly have the perfect or secret recipe to motivation, but I can tell you what motivates me. So for example, my motivations in Japanese are to be able to communicate with native speakers. Maybe one day I'll be able to also work there, so that's quite motivating. Also, I like the challenge because everyone says it's difficult, so it kind of motivates me to be like, I've learned languages before, but let's have something difficult coming my way. But these are my personal motivations, and everyone has different kinds of motivations, so it doesn't mean that my motivations are the only one that are viable, basically. If you ever struggle with being motivated, or if you kind of lose faith in yourself in a way, I'm being a bit extreme, but you know what I mean. What could help, I think, is to kind of set yourself small targets or small goals. So for example, it could be that you want to learn eventually in 2 weeks to be able to order food in the language, maybe to book a hotel, maybe to learn numbers up to 1,000, whatever. So I think small targets like that can also be motivating because it gives you achievable and realistic targets, and that can kind of be more motivating than just saying, one day I'll learn the language, because if it's too vague, for some people it might not work, and sometimes it doesn't work for me either. So yeah. Don't feel bad if you feel like you're a bit unmotivated sometimes. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you really think it's too much or it's too difficult, rethink it a little bit and try to set yourself small goals like the ones I just gave as an example, and try to do something that's more achievable, because I think if you just start learning a language with the only objective to learn the language, then it will be very difficult, because it sounds like it's something that's so huge to do that if you break it down into small tasks, I guess, it makes it easier and more manageable. Alright, well that's it for today. I hope you find this video helpful and that I gave you practical advice that you can actually follow, because in many videos on YouTube sometimes they tell you the recipe of something but it's very theoretical. So I hope I wasn't. And let me know in the comment section what you thought about the video, and I will see you later. Bye!